Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be trying out some Arteza, they call them, I'm just going to make this word up, TwiMarkers. TwiMarkers? It's twin without the N. Anyway, they're a fine tip, brush tip marker. I think you'll enjoy them, and I hope you'll stay tuned. So this is what the packaging looks like. I get 48 in here, and they're water-based inks, and you get 2 tips. Hold on. This teeny tiny tip and the brush tip that looks like that. I personally like the brush tips, and that's what we're going to be using today. And I'm going to be using a stamp from Simon Says stamp. It's called an Outline Leaves. I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then we're going to, after we ink it, then we're going to emboss it. That way my watercoloring stays in the grooves, if you know what I mean. I'm just trying to make sure. When they took the Stamp Perfect stamping tools off the shelves, I bought a second one in case my first one broke, and I did break the hinge on one of mine, so on my first one, so I'm going for the second one. I know that everybody has their own opinions on whether it's fair or not fair that they were sold for a while because of Misty and the patents, but for me, the door is not as hard for me to push through as my Misty, and I own a Misty, as you know. I use it primarily, but I really get bruises, big bruises on my arms from trying to do this. So then I bought a Baron, and I'll show you that too. I'm going to go over this one more time. I bought this Baron from Dick Blick. It's under $10, but I use this to give me some pressure on the lid. Oh, do I still have the bruise? Can you see that bruise? That's what I get when I use the tool, the Misty, without the Baron, because I think, oh yeah, I could just do that myself, and then I end up having this little issue right there. I cannot seem to get that part right in there. And somebody told me I should put felt on it, on this, but I didn't, because I was worried that if I used felt on it, that it wouldn't be as effective. I think that's pretty good. It's not as black as I'd like it to be, but that's not as big a problem as normal because I'm going to be coloring most of it, so you won't really see it. And if you don't know the story about why my VersaFine is in a Distress ink container, the VersaFine containers are nice, but the lid kept flapping all over the place when I tried to stamp with it, and it made me crazy. And one of my viewers said, hey Sandy, have you ever considered just getting an empty, they call them, I think, a custom ink for Distress ink, and what you do is it's just a blank ink pad, and you take your blank ink pad and you fill it with your VersaFine Onyx Black. Ooh, and you're good to go. So we're just going to put our paper right there. I'm warming up my heat tool. If you warm it up for maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds, you should be fine. I'm going to hold it down right on the edge, and you should see, when you do this, you should see your colors turn from a matte color to a shiny color. Once you go over this, you want to make sure that you don't go over it too much, because if you do, your image will go from shiny to flat, because the ink absorbs it, or the powder melts, and then it will absorb into your paper, and you don't want that. So let me grab you that Arteza watercolor pad so you can see it. I really like these. They're not expensive, and what I like about them is you get 3 of them. I'm not sure of the price, but the people at Arteza usually give me a discount code, so I'll make sure I put that at the bottom, and at the end of the video they usually give me a 10% discount, which is really sweet of them. And they provide me with a lot of their tools, and I think that's wonderful too, so that we know if someone like me can use them or not, because some tools you just can't use because, you know, let's face it, sometimes I just can't use certain tools. Sometimes I just can't use certain tools. I have, this is 5.5 by 5.5 inch square, and I made this 5 1/4, but I think I'm going to cut it down because I want these edges gone, but I thought I would leave them on while I'm doing my coloring. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play with my colors, and the colors I'm using today are going to be Yellow Ochre, Jungle Green, Sage Green, Olive Green, and Emerald Green. Now these are non-toxic, which is great, and you can use them with your kids, also great. I'm going to get a little thing of water. What I thought I would do is I thought I would start on the innermost. Here's the other way of doing it. I'm going to scribble into one of these little cups. If you can't blend, I mean, if you really struggle with the whole blending idea, this is the easiest way to do it. Okay, and I'm going to just take a little bit of water and put it in each one of these little cups. And then, okay, I need a little bit more of this one. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't feel good about your blending skills. You can start out. Now this is going to be lighter than the way I did it. Oh, I got too much water on there. Take some of that off. We'll do another one because I had too much water on my brush. Again, it's going to be lighter than the other way because you have water in with your paints. Okay, so that's what it would look like if you did it with without, not using a marker. I'm going to take that off because I don't really want to have one leaf look different than the rest, but I wanted to show you that that's the way you can do it if you don't feel comfortable coloring the way I've been coloring. So we're just going to continue on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm only going to color a few more in because I don't want you to be snoozing through this process, because obviously it's a whole page of leaves, so it's not like there's going to be any difference here. I'm going to go with, this is Cerulean blue, and this one is bright blue. And I'm going to go from the bottom with the lighter blue, and then I'm going to the top with this with the darker shade. I cut this down to 5 by 5. Doesn't it look cool? And then this is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And this is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. Pretty sure. We're pretty close to it. Might be a little bit off. Anyway, I thought what I would do is, I don't like white, as you know, around my edges. So what I thought I would do is just take my Mode Grass. This is just regular Distress ink that I re-inked, so it's really, really juicy, and I love it when it's like that. But you know, I also get a big mess when I do this, so if you see I'm moving it on the paper every time, that's so I don't end up with that green on the back. If it, you know, the green on here will end up on the back of this, and it's not, so it's a big day for me. I have some other cool thing that I bought. I got it from a place called BeeBeeCrafts, and they sent it to me and asked me if I would try it, and it's cool. It's this it's a ribbon, but it's leaves, and I thought this would be perfect for this. So here's the plan. Okay, you got to make sure you have this in the right order, you know, like so it opens in the right way. So it opens this way. We're good so far. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to it, and I think I'm just going to use this little tape runner. It's a plus tape runner. I'm also going to use some wet glue on it because it's watercolor paper, and watercolor paper for me sometimes comes apart, and I don't want this to come apart. One of our friends from college, his mother just passed away, and I want to make sure that when we give him this card that it stays in one piece when I give it to him. You know what I mean? I don't want it to end up falling apart. Anyway, so I'm going to put this one down. Don't stick to your buddy. Think. No. Ooh. No. I think I'm going to go with it like this anyway. I don't think anybody's going to really notice. If they do, darn it, I'm sorry. It's a little crooked. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Then this piece I'm going to put up on foam dimensionals, and it'll really show up against that gold, but I'm also going to put this gold on it. Which way should I do it? I think I'm going to go, should I go the same direction as the other ones are? Alright, I'm going to do that. Living on the edge. I'm going to just cut off this much. Might be too much for now. I'll put all the information about this in the information below. And this is again from BeeBeeCrafts. I'm going to have Rich fast forward through this part because you don't really care if you see me putting fun foam down, do you? I mean, if you really want to see it. I used a stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's a real old one. It's called So Sorry, and I'm using So Sorry, and the inside I stamped For Your Loss. And I thought what I would do is I would go over the front with that lighter blue and then go around the edges with the darker blue, just like I did with the card itself, or the front of the card. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. And then I'm going to go in with this darker color, and that's going to go all around these edges. First things first, I'm going to take my front of my card, and I'm going to take my leaves. Okay. Don't worry about these two that are kind of wrinkled. I can always fix those, and I will. Then I'm going to turn this, if you've never seen me do this, I like to turn my card kind of sideways. I get a better idea, hopefully, of where it's going to center. Hard to believe it's centered. Okay, now you see this one that doesn't want to lay, and this one that doesn't want to lay. Here are some sneaky things you can do. These are little adhesive squares. They're glue dots. Don't tell anyone my secret. Okay, we're going to take one of the adhesive squares and I'm going to lay it under the tip of that one. Oh, that's too far over. Come on, Sandy, work with it. Okay, I'm going to make it so that's right there. And then I'm just rolling it up, and I think I'm gonna lay a couple more down just because they're bugging me. Now, I didn't realize that this flipped over, but we're okay with that, because here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put "so sorry" right there. And that way, and I raised that up too. And that way we won't have a problem with it. I'm going to have to cut this leaf off because it's in our way. Know what I mean? It's got to go. So we'll just whack him off. Jeez, he's a sturdy little bugger. I think I'm going to have to use my Tim Holtz scissors to get him off. Okay, this is Shimmer Spritz by Imagine Craft. I don't know who made it. I've had it a long, super long time. Now I just have to find my paintbrush. There it is. I sprayed it into my little cup here, and all I'm going to do is just I'm only going to do the inside section like that. Hopefully you can see that it's sparkly. So sorry for your loss, and then I'll have to make an envelope for it, but that's not a big deal. I hope that you enjoyed this, that you check into these Arteza, I don't know how you say that, TwiMarkers? I don't know. I'm going to say TwiMarkers just because that's the way it sounds to me. I got the set of 48 from them. I love them. I have to say, of all the Arteza products I've ever used, these and that watercolor paper are absolutely my favorites, and I'm sure you'll get a discount. Don't forget to check out, if you're interested in this ribbon, the links for all of this will be below, as always. And I gotta stamp this before I forget. Ooh. I hope that you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.